I'm Mike Benner live in southeast Portland, where officers are looking for a carjacking suspect. We're told he claimed to have a weapon and stole a woman's car. We'll have details coming up.
And businesses in downtown Portland struggling to stay afloat after that devastating gas explosion on Northwest 23rd. How the rebuilding process is actually hurting their sales. And a very special Cup of Joe March Madness edition. Our very own Joe Donlin sits down with the Gonzaga men's basketball team on the eve of the championship game. We know they can move the ball, but how well can they work together for a game off the court?
This is KGW News at 5.
This is a live look from our Wells Fargo Skycam. It was a pretty day across much of the Rose City today, and definitely a nice day to get outside too. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich in for Nina Melhoff, and it looks like even warmer weather might be on the way. Brian Brennan is up on our roof with the latest on the forecast. You're staying dry up there, Brian.
Yeah, there's a few showers around, but on our roof, everything is looking nice and dry. The sun is even coming out from behind a cloud right now and warming things up a little bit. It's a bit chilly on the roof with a northerly breeze above 10 miles an hour. Our first graphic shows you Astoria, which looks nice and sunny right now. We'll move on to our next one, Wells Fargo. We got up to about 55 degrees today, which was about what we expected, a little bit cooler than normal. Our next slide shows you there are a few showers. They're mainly up in the higher elevations and north of Portland, and those will all start to diminish as we head into the overnight hours. Our last slide here, the day planner shows it is going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Some outlying areas might wake up to a bit of patchy frost. Our temperatures jump right up to where they're supposed to be this time of year in the upper 50s, and it will be mostly sunny. A very beautiful day, and we got a couple more days sort of like that, even warmer. We'll tell you more about that in the full forecast. Christine.
Thank you, Brian. Can't wait to hear all about it. Now to a scary situation that happened today. Police are looking for a carjacking suspect. Officers say he stole a woman's car near Mount Scott Park on Southeast 72nd. And that's where we find KGW's Mike Benner with the latest on this story. And Mike, I cannot even imagine what that woman must have been feeling.
Well, you said it, Christine. This was extremely frightening for her. I can tell you that neighbors are quite alarmed by what happened. They say this sort of thing just doesn't happen out here, especially in broad daylight. We can tell you it all unfolded around 10:30 this morning. A woman says she was driving when a man stopped her, claiming that she hit him. He got in the car and ordered her to drive him to the hospital. Then listen to this. He said he had a weapon and forced her out of the car. We're told the guy drove off, but he did not make it very far. The 2017 Toyota Corolla that he stole broke down. He took off running. Police searched the area, but did not find him.
It's kind of creepy, because especially with the park right there, you know, little kids and stuff like that. It could have been some bad person out there.
Yeah, they're still looking for the suspect, from what we understand.
That's scary. Yeah, because I like this neighborhood, but you know, stuff like that, that's kind of scary.
Now, today's carjacking comes just days after a man stole a car with a sleeping child inside. It happened late Friday night near Southeast 117th and Division. That suspect abandoned the vehicle soon after stealing it. Officers think he got spooked when he noticed a kid was sleeping in back. Now, at this point, no reason to believe these cases are connected. As always, if you have any information on either case, you're urged to contact the Portland Police Bureau. We can tell you that the suspect in today's carjacking has the tattoo of a number sign near his left eye, so keep an eye out for that. Christine.
Okay, good detail to know about. Thank you, Mike. And hundreds of people in Colombia were caught in a sudden flood and landslide. And today, search and rescue teams are working around the clock to find victims. So far, authorities say the disaster killed more than 200 people. Another 200 were injured, many of them children. The sudden wave of water slammed into the southern Colombian city of Mocoa at midnight on Friday, taking people there by surprise. Officials believe the death toll will rise as they find more victims under debris and mud. And people came together in Vancouver this afternoon, their goal to show support for President Donald Trump. One of the organizers of the Rally for Trump and Freedom says he is passionate and excited about his beliefs. He doesn't want Trump supporters to be ashamed. He says he's all about supporting freedom, freedom to believe what you want and speak your mind. He says what is motivating people to show up at these events? Their pushback against being called racist or sexist. And he says events like this one are geared toward making states red again, but in a respectful way.
The goal of those is keep it peaceful. That's the main thing, and to just talk about love and God and just keep things clean.
Counter-protesters showed up as well, and there was a small skirmish, but police were there to break it up and keep the peace. Vancouver police say that they did make a few arrests. And President Trump is again accusing the media of missing the real story behind Russia's involvement in the U.S. election. The president took to Twitter this morning to vent again about the media's coverage of Russia's meddling in the U.S. election, tweeting, quote, "The real story turns out to be surveillance and leaking. Find the leakers." Senate Republicans are pushing back at suggestions that a special prosecutor is needed to investigate after concerns that the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, Republican Devin Nunes, is too close to the White House.
It's just not necessary based on what we know now. We've got a bipartisan investigation underway. It's called the Senate Intelligence Committee.
The White House is also hoping for a victory in Congress tomorrow. The Senate Judiciary Committee is set to vote on Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch. Democrats want to block the confirmation, but Republicans are threatening to override them using their majority. And we've got a major traffic alert for you. Starting tomorrow morning, the Morrison Bridge will be down to just one lane in each direction. It will stay that way for the next 6 months. This project will replace the failing bridge deck, so it'll stop rattling when you drive across it. TriMet buses and heavy trucks have not been allowed across in 3 years, but that will change once the project is complete. And starting today, you can catch the Max at Gresham City Hall. The station opened today after some major renovations. This is some video that you're seeing from late February when construction really got going. Some work will continue until early this summer, and once it's completely finished, riders will see new shelters as well as updated lighting and security cameras.
And they say, well, what do you mean? How could that be? And I look around and I go, how could it not be impacting my business?
Nearly 6 months later, businesses on Northwest 23rd are still shaken and suffering from that massive natural gas explosion. Owners say insurance claims are stalling, profits are dropping, and some have had to pick up and move. Adding to their frustration, a report out this week claims the subcontractor who was working at that site dug the wrong side of the street. KGW's Maggie Vespa has an update on a rebuilding process that could take years.
Yeah, good evening from Northwest 23rd at Gleason, which nearly half a year later still looks like this. Several businesses wiped out, pretty much nothing has been rebuilt, and the businesses nearby that have reopened say, yeah, they're suffering.
And it is double-digit decreases, absolutely.
On top of the $100,000 in damages and counting.
How could it not be impacting my business?
Deborah Haynes points out foot traffic outside Blush Beauty Bar is down, parking is impacted, and quite frankly, this site makes consumers sad, so they don't shop here anymore.
Told myself I wasn't going to cry.
Haynes is friends with owners of Dosha, Portland Bagel Works, and the other businesses that were wiped out. She knows her struggles pale in comparison. Case in point, Jason Kundell, owner of Artwork Rebels. All that's left of his shop is this sign, which somehow survived the blast. It now hangs outside his new downtown location. You see, the father of 4 and employer of 8 couldn't wait 1.5 years to 2 years. That's how long he's heard it will take to rebuild here.
There are a lot of people and there are a lot of families involved. There was a lot of struggles.
For both of them, frustration mounts courtesy of a new report by the Oregon Public Utility Commission. It states that Lloyd Clark Pipeline, the subcontractor on the job that day, dug on the wrong side of Gleason, hitting a gas line they didn't know was there.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that it was such a gross mistake.
The legal ramifications of that report have yet to be ironed out. That will take time. And as the old saying goes, time is money. In this case, it's money lost.
People have come in and said, you know, I'm so glad everything's been taken care of and everything's up and running. And I look at them and I try to stay as positive as I can and just say, yeah, not quite.
Maggie Vespa, KGW News.
KGW has reached out to Loy Clark Pipeline about that report. A spokesperson for the company told our news partners at the Oregonian they are reviewing its findings. And we are live from Arizona with the latest on March Madness. Orlando Sanchez joins us live with a report how so many in the Pacific Northwest are now pinning their hopes on the Zags to take home the championship.